Welcome, banda. Welcome. I'm your host, Hugo Bernal. This is a Mexican Soccer Podcast en el Tri Online. And we have episode 209. I love it. Being over 200 episodes with you guys. Every day that we are here with you, we discuss everything new. And thank you for joining us. I want to invite everybody to follow us on our social media platforms or anywhere you can follow us. You can find us from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, us, all you know, El Tri Online. Welcome, guys. 209 episodes, but today it's Liga MX final, and also we're going to talk about El Tri, la Selección de México. As always, we're joined by El Super Mojado. We send him to the sparrings team. We'll let you know what that is in a second. El buen Fernando y Don Ramon. Don Ramon está con nosotros. Fernie, ¿cómo andas, brother? Welcome.
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? Excited for the final. For both finals, actually. For the Liga MX.
Super Mojado?
What happened?
What did you do with El Super Mojado?
No, pues lo mandamos de vacaciones para que podamos tener un programa más tranquilo. Para que no haya pleitos. Yeah, exactly.
Don Ramón, bienvenido. ¿Cómo andas, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back in a Mexican Soccer Podcast. I show up every once in a while, so it's good to be here and talk some football with y'all.
El Tata Martino te llamó para este podcast hoy, así que ya dio su lista. Welcome, guys. No, nobody likes that.
No, el Tata no me llamaría a mí. No.
I know. We got Fernie here that it's a Tata hater, so it's okay. We'll deal with it. But welcome.
I'm not a Tata hater. He just sucks.
A little bit of a hater.
He's just not a good
not
coach.
that I hate him, but yeah. So, anyways, welcome. We're gonna talk about the new list that El Tata came out with, and also, it's hard not to mention it, but we have to talk about Chicharito because he actually. Did you guys see the interview with Hugo Sanchez?
No, I saw little clips of it. Yeah, I need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, me too. I have to see what I read mostly of what he said, and apparently it's only Chicharito saying that only because he left a WhatsApp group, he's not being called to the World Cup. But is that what it is? I don't know. We don't know. I mean, I'm sure.
I was in the group chat with you guys at the Mexican Soccer Podcast. I left, and then I'm not on the show anymore. So that tells me
that's it, man. Well, we need commitment, you know.
Nobody's telling the truth
here. Nobody's a Chicharito here, but anyways, yeah. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at who do we have in the Mexican Soccer? I mean, in the Mexican Soccer Podcast. Yes, who are we gonna see in 31, and we're gonna end up with 26. Am I correct?
Yeah, so they're gonna trim it down from the original call-up list is 31. So these are the guys that are gonna travel to Spain, and then after they do their two warm-up games there against Iraq and Sweden, then they're gonna cut it down to 26, which is actually a bigger number than the last World Cup, which was only 23.
It used to be, yeah,
more
exactly.
In this time around,
and as if I recall correctly, how many used to be before? 23.
23, yeah. I think because you have 5 substitutes now, I think they're allowing a couple of more people.
They're allowing
makes sense.
But this strategy of calling more plays that you're supposed to, I don't think any of the coaches before did it. I'm talking about for the past World Cups. Correct me if I'm mistaken. But as I remember, the last one who did that, it was Manolo Lapuente in el 98. I think so. When a few players ended up.
Yeah, out of the top of my mind. What sucks if you're a player though is that if you fly all the way to Spain and then they sit you in the little room, they're like, hey man, you're not gonna go.
And this is why I'm remembering this, because in 1998, I remember it was Ramon Chavez who ended up not going, but he was traveling this whole time with or not only traveling, playing. Tato Noriega ended up not playing. No, that was 2002. I don't remember if it was 2002 or 1998, but anyways, those are the ones that I recall.
Are you guys talking about players that go over there and then just get cut last minute. Sorry, I was just trying to read the list when you guys started talking, and you know,
No, so we're
have the
talking
list
about
over in a
the
second,
out of
and
the
we'll
31.
have a yeah.
Yeah, only
Don
26
Ramon,
are going to go. So 5 guys are not going to go.
Ramon, if you let us, if you actually read the list, because with your amazing voice, we can understand all the 31 players. But what we're trying to say, Fernando, is that there's 31 players with the team right now. There's a list of 31, and they're gonna cut off pretty much 5 of them, even though they're gonna travel and play with everybody and everything. And
isn't
they're
that
just
what
gonna cut off
happened in
5.
South Africa though, when Jonathan dos Santos got cut from the team and he was in the same hotel as his brother, and they ended up crying together in a hotel room?
Maybe. As I said, I
Yeah, I
don't remember.
remember that.
The one that I
That
remember
time.
it was 1998, but it could have happened in South Africa as well.
Yeah, I
Or
remember
it was
Fernando that thing
2002.
happening too. But yeah, Jonathan dos Santos was really young back then. He must have been like not even 20, I think. But you know, I think this is good. You know, along with, I know we're going to talk about this later, but the sparring players that they're going to bring up, I think Tata's just going to try to have like a little mini camp, you know, and make sure that with those 2 extra games, because not a lot of nations are going to have those games before the World Cup. They're literally going to go from their leagues to the World Cup. So I think it's good for Mexico. We know the Saudi Arabia team, they completely canceled their league. I don't know if you guys heard about that they're not playing any league games until after the World Cup, because they want to make sure that they're prepared, and they're playing a bunch of games before the World Cup. So Saudi Arabia is taking this seriously. So I think Mexico doing this is the right move.
We'll talk about Saudi Arabia, of course, in a second, because it's El Tri rival in the group stage. But production, if we can put up the list again, and when Ramon is gonna read the 31 players, I don't think there's gonna change in the goalies, but go on.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with the world's oldest goalkeepers here. So we have Guillermo Ochoa from America, Alfredo Talavera from FC Juarez, and then Rodolfo Cota from Leon. Those are gonna be the 3 goalkeepers Tata will be taking. Defenders, we have Jorge Sanchez from Ajax, Johan Vasquez from Cremonense in Italy, Cesar Montes Monterrey, Gerardo Arteaga from Genk, Héctor Moreno Monterrey, Néstor Araujo de las Poderísimas Águilas del América. Jesus Gallardo from Monterrey, Kevin Alvarez, Pachuca, Jesus Alberto Angulo de Tigres. Those are your defenders. And then in the midfield, you have Edson Alvarez with Ajax, Andres Guardado with Real Betis, Eric Gutierrez with PSV, Hector Herrera with Houston Dynamo. It feels weird to say. Diego Lainez with Sporting Braga, Orbelín Pineda with AEK Athens, Carlos Rodriguez, El Charlie, Cruz Azul, Luis Romo Monterrey, Luis Chávez Pachuca, Roberto Alvarado Chivas, Uriel Antuna Cruz Azul, Eric Sanchez from Pachuca. So those are your midfielders. And then in the forwards position, you have El Chucky Lozano with Napoli, Raúl Jiménez with Wolverhampton, El Tecatito with Sevilla, Santi Jiménez with El Feyenoord, Alexis Vega Chivas, Henry Martín América, and Rogelio Funes Mori con el Monterrey. So those are the 31 that will be making the trip to España.
As I said, there was no one else better prepared than when Ramon, as always. Thank you for taking that into consideration. 31 players. We're only keeping 26. El Tata had this very clear, and I'm pretty sure he already has his 26. But nobody's sure, and it depends. I don't know if Ramon, you got any insights, or you have any obvious ones that are not going to be joining the World Cup, especially because they're not playing that much. One of them is Lainez, which I don't know if it's an obvious one, but he's definitely not been playing. He's definitely not even considered to be playing the first team with Sporting Braga. But every time he plays in the La Selección, he makes a difference to me. But I don't know what Tata is thinking right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Linus is just in a weird time. You know, the reason he moved from Betis is because he wasn't getting any playing time over there. He was basically lied to and said, hey, if you stay another year with us, you're going to get that playing time. That didn't happen. So he moved over to Braga, and he's not getting playing time there either. So that tells you one or two things. Either he just doesn't fit the scheme of whatever team he's choosing to go to, or he's just not good enough to be in Europe. That's the reality of it. You know, a lot of people online are already saying, hey, you know, he should just cut his losses, come back to Mexico and see if he can fit somewhere here, because ever since his move over there a few years ago, he hasn't gotten that consistent playing time that we all kind of envisioned him to be getting. And when he made the move to Real Betis instead of Ajax, who's known to develop players like him and move them up from the academy to kind of like the reserve team and eventually to the first team, that might have been a bad move from his part. So it's just taking its toll right now, and I don't know if Tata's going to take that into consideration, especially with the injuries to Tecatito, especially if he's not able to go. But yeah, it's just a bad spot to be in, especially weeks away from the World Cup.
Yeah, tough to call. But Fernando, your input on in Linus, or which other player would be an obvious out for you?
Well, I mean, unless the rules changed and players can play with muletas, then I don't see why Tecatito should be in that list. And even if it's for the 31s that are just gonna play 2 friendlies before the World Cup starts, I don't understand why he's there. Even if si se recupera del pie or de su fractura, that's not enough time to get back into rhythm. Linus, obviously, he's not getting any playing time. I do have to disagree with a lot of people that think that he has to come back to Mexico. If I remember correctly, Raúl Jiménez struggled when he first went to Europe, right? He wasn't getting that much playing time with Atletico Madrid or Benfica, which were his two first teams, and until finally he found his style with Wolves. So I think maybe Linus, if he's ambitious enough, he could stick it out and continue to be there, and maybe eventually find the team that fits him properly. And then there's other people that, like Gallardo, I don't know why he's there. Cota, I still don't know why he took that third goal instead of a younger one. But for the obvious, I think it's just Tecatito and Linus, like you guys mentioned.
Yeah, I'm also Orbelin Pineda. I haven't seen him getting so much playing time, but also I know it's one of the Tata's favorites. But there's some reactions from Tata Martino that I was reading today, saying that many of the joyitas didn't actually develop into better players. So I don't know if it was that comment or that interview directed to Lainez, to Orbelin, Alexis Vega, who everybody thought he was going to be in Europe with no problem. So everything like that, and any other play like that, who knows? It's a mystery for us. And of course, as always, we're reading every comment that we would see here. Inglebroots is telling us Tata would rather take players with the fractured ligaments than Chicharito. Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean, it's hard to call it, but I at first I was feeling a little bit bad about Chicharito. I think that's over to me. I'm whatever, move on. And the problem is that I'm seeing him taking Funes Mori, which is not in a good spot as well. And I'm not saying Chicharito would be the solution, but Tata Martino is dying with his own, and I don't know. I don't feel about Chicharito anymore. What do you guys think about Chicharito?
I mean, here's the thing. You're 24 days from the World Cup. You have, your centerpiece of your attack, and I'm talking in the point of view of Tata Martino, and Raúl Jiménez, who has not been the same player since his injury. We can all agree on that, right? He had those great 18 months with the Wolves, world-class striker. You had teams like Liverpool and Bayern, and all these rumors saying, hey, we're interested in this guy. Once that injury happened, though, I think that just nullified whatever plan Tata Martino had in place, because he was the centerpiece of that attack. When he came back after that injury, he just hasn't been the same, whether it's the national team or with Wolves. And now you're hoping that this guy recovers by the time the World Cup comes around, which is in less than a month. You're basing all of your attack and everything that you have on this guy who hasn't played well in over a year and a half, and you're hoping he recovers from an injury. Now, you move on to Tecatito, who had basically a broken fibula. Even his coach today, Samponelli, he said he's not playing. That's why we didn't let him go to Mexico, because he's not going to recover by the time the World Cup starts. So at this point, it's arrogance from Tata Martino, not calling players like Chicharito up to the selección and banking on players like Rogelio Funes Mori, who he himself is coming off an injury, is not in good rhythm. and you're putting all your eggs in a basket that's not gonna work out for you, and that's just arrogance from the coach. You have Chicharito, yes, you had your issues with him, yes, we all know it's a telenovela, we love that kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you need to perform at the World Cup. I feel like he's just saying, hey, whatever happens, I'm out anyway after this. I don't want to hear from La Selección ever again. And he's going to go to Argentina, where he already spends much of his time. And that's it. He doesn't care. And that's arrogance. And he's just going to die with his own guys. And that's fine. But I feel like it's going to blow up in his face.
Well,
Fernando, real quick. Hold on, Fernando, real quick, before you mentioned something, because there was an interview from Tata Martino saying that he's finishing this vacas sagradas from El Tri, meaning that there's no, I don't care who you are, Chicharito, what's your name, how many goals you have, you can be the historic player for El Tri. I don't care who you are, if you don't follow the protocols of and you take in consideration what un llamado al Tri is, you're not coming to this election. And he's ending with that, apparently. Do you guys agree? Because when I hear him and when I read what he said, I understand it. I kind of like it. Like you're nobody's bigger than la selección.
Are you saying that because Chicharito's not going? Because he was not a vaca sagrada to begin with. I don't think he was part of that group. I don't think he called the shots at all. I don't think he thought he was bigger than the selección. But we do have people like Ochoa, Herrera, Guardado that I think those are the ones that call the shots. Not Chicharito. I don't think he ever had that power in the selección. And he might say that just, para decirle eso a la afición de que está terminando con las vacas sagradas, but that's not going to end.
So when it comes to that, I think it's a bigger conversation because you have these vacas sagradas that continue to play 2, 3, 4 World Cup cycles, and there's not that turnover that you see in other selecciones where you're going to get a guy that's really good and he's going to be playing well, but he's not staying 15, 20 years with the selección. That's not how long a player's prime is usually. You don't see Brazilians or English players playing 5 World Cups. That only happens in Mexico for some reason. And I think that's a bigger conversation because we're not developing those players to take that place and saying, hey, Chicharito, you're 35. Hey, man, there's a guy that's better than you right now. That doesn't happen in Mexico. We have to continue to rely on these guys. That's why you get a Cuauhtémoc Blanco playing in 2010 when he's like 38. Memo Ochoa right now. A Guardado who played in the 2006 World Cup. What's another player that's played in that World Cup in 2006? Only Messi and Ronaldo. Are you gonna put Guardado in that conversation? I don't think so. So that's my point.
No, it is good point. Well, and I think you need to be a Messi or a Ronaldo.
Out of all those people,
they are. But I mean, Messi and Ronaldo, of course, they're a vaca sagrada. And I hope what I'm saying
is that all those people that are old, like Ochoa, Herrera, that are still playing la selección, out of all those people, I think Guardado is the best to still be there por el liderazgo y porque creo que no es tan todavía tiene un poco de calidad como jugador. And then you got Ochoa saying that he wants to play in 2026. And then es exactamente lo que le hizo el Conejo Pérez a él en Sudáfrica y es lo que quiere hacer para el Mundial del 26. I think that's messed up. He has to move aside, especially after what happened against Toluca this past week. It was embarrassing. And it's concerning because obviously he's going to be the starter goalie for this World Cup. Y así quiere llegar a 2026. I don't think so. And that's the issue when you talk about vacas sagradas. They want to stay around even though they're not good enough anymore.
So you guys would be okay if, let's say, Tata Martino said, Chicharito, stay home. You're not even coming. Forget about it. But then on his 26 players that he would take to the World Cup, it would show consistency at not taking Memo Ochoa and taking a young goalkeeper. Maybe taking only one as an Andrés Guardado, which still, it's a lot to take. It's one spot that you could take a young guy coming in like Nene Beltran or whoever you want to put the name. But if you're going to put all your, eggs on a basket, let's call it with young players and we teach them. And if we're going to lose badly, at least let's make them learn and learn for the next one or from whatever. Would change, right? We would be happy if Chicharito's not even considered, right?
I mean, I don't. You see the U.S. men's national team. They're doing the total opposite. They're taking a bunch of young players, and
The
for
youngest
whatever
team
reason,
in the World Cup. Yeah.
the results are just as bad. They lost against Japan in an embarrassing way. They had a pretty pathetic game against Saudi Arabia. So taking El Nene Beltran, or like you mentioned, or any other young player, I don't think that's the solution. And yeah, it would make more sense. Like you said, it would make more sense what Tata is doing if he would have left those people behind. But taking young ones is not the solution if he didn't play them throughout the whole eliminatorias.
So the thing is, and I agree with you guys. It's do whatever you have to do to get results because it's only one World Cup every 4 years. So, and that's it. As you said, Ramon, he's out right after this. So might as well try to get a good ride and get. Imagine if he gets the fifth game, he's gonna be historic. So what
Which
do you want to?
he's done that with Paraguay. He did that in 2010 with Paraguay. So he knows how to play World Cup games. So it's tough because he has the pedigree. That's what he was brought in to be the leader of the selección. But my problem is, for example, out of this list that's right now, the 31, you can say maybe 3, 4, maximum 5 are going to be there in 2026. And the philosophy of this team is what is it? You know, what's the philosophy behind
There's
this
none.
team? Is it just put Raúl Jiménez and Chucky and let's see what we can do? Let's throw our hands up. Let's see what we can do.
And which
If you
Raúl
look at the
Jiménez you talking
US,
about?
yeah. If you look at the US, they're going young. They said, hey, we're going to cut out Michael Bradley. We're going to get rid of Clint Dempsey. We're not calling all these guys that were the guys that got us through 10 years. We're going young. These guys are playing in Europe. They're going to get that experience. And hey, if they crash out at the first round, that's fine. Because in 2026, that's when we're going all in. That's what the US is doing. What is Mexico doing? They're saying, hey, let's see who we can get. You know, like it's about the development of these kids. Like whoever is supposed to be playing in 2026 needs to be part of the selección right now or playing in Europe if we want to be successful.
And none of it is happening. How many players are in Europe? You mentioned 5 that they will be playing next World Cup.
Well, who can you say? Chucky, Edson Alvarez, Johan Vázquez, maybe.
Lainez, if he does end up going.
Lainez.
You know, so a lot of defending. None of the goalkeepers. You should have brought Cota. You know, I'm sorry, Acevedo. If you're gonna kind of push that at, you know, even just for sparring purposes. Pero no se hace.
All right. So I'm just going through the rundown. Who should make it to the 26? We called it already. Let's take a look at this sparring team that El Tata Martino called, which I don't know if has happened with another national teams, but I like it. I like this. And Don Ramon, I want to make it clear. Yes, I mean the U.S. it's betting for the whole team to the whole thing to go young and forget about it. We don't care if we crash in the first round. We'll get a next World Cup. But this is part of the plan, maybe from El Tata Martino. Don't you think this is pairing team, which is it's not going to be anything anyway for these players right now? Unless just cool, you belong to that team and whatever happened.
Yeah, no, I think it's good that they're taking these players. If you look at the list, it's a lot of under 20 players or a lot of players that have been in the under 21s for Mexico that have played in the CONCACAF championship that happened this year where they crashed out early, and that's why Mexico's not going to the Olympics. But it's a lot of experience, a lot of players that are looking to be part of the selección. Now, a lot of these players are some of the players that might not be out there yet. As far as, you know, popularity, you're not going to get some of the players that are out there. I'm blanking out on his name right now. But, you know, a lot of these players that you're seeing, Emilio Lara, that guy's coming up the ranks. Karel Campos, he's had some experience as well. Roman Martin, I'm calling all the America guys because I've seen him before. But you don't see someone like a Marcelo Flores, right? If he's not going with the senior team, why isn't he in this one, you know?
Yeah, he should have been there.
Yeah, and so it kind of speaks to you. One name that I want to point out is Heriberto Jurado. He's been amazing. He was actually listed as one of the top 60 young prospects by The Guardian. It's a big newspaper over there in England. So if you guys haven't heard that name yet, he plays for Necaxa. Heriberto Jurado. He's gonna be a star for sure.
Maybe Fernie has heard of him, especially because he reads the ¿cómo se llama el periódico otra vez? He reads
The Guardian.
The Guardian, or he reads English stuff, you know. No, Fernie?
Well, I mean, No, I actually haven't heard of him. But just like Ramon said, I know the Pumas players, and
Hmm.
he knows the America players along the Pumas players, and they're good. Especially Rubalcaba. He's been a starter for Pumas. He's been a great player. He actually was born here in the United States and moves to like not too long ago to Pumas and makes his debut. And he's actually a good player. And on that list, I'm actually looking at the roster for 2026. So it's great that he took these players. They're gonna get some experience over there, whatever it is. And it does suck que no llamó a
Marcelo.
Marcelo Flores.
I think his
Um,
league is still going on while the World Cup is
mhm.
playing because he plays in the B one. So maybe that's
Yeah,
probably a reason.
it could be. It could be. And I mean, as much as I want to agree with everything with you guys say, every time I listen to El Tata Martino talking, I agree with him too. So it's odd to
Oh,
say.
come
It's a
on,
mixed feeling.
man.
No,
What
no,
do
no.
you?
So, and I'm
What do
being serious.
you?
No, no, no. Well, unless he comes out flat and tell us exactly what happened with Chicharito, which I believe he will at some point, and he's also gonna vent out what happened with directivos, and if they ever tell him, yeah, you cannot bring this or that, or other players like the Guardado and Ochoa told him not to bring Chicharito anymore, stuff like that. If he comes out flat, I'll understand more things about it.
But what are you gonna
If we
understand
never hear that,
if he gives you reasons as to why he has sucked for the past 2 years? You're gonna understand what, because the rules that apply to him have applied to past coaches, and those past coaches have had moments where they convince us to about their game. And don't tell me
yes,
that the Mexico
you're
team right now does not have quality, because there's some players that have quality. It's just that El Tata
no.
Martino doesn't know how to use those players.
At the end of the day, it's all about results and style and seeing everything. And yes, you're 100% correct. Con el Tata Martino, we do not see a style of game or anything really. We see survive, and yeah, who they won what game? Last game, I forgot who it was. Colombia, they I think they lost, but I forgot which one they won.
Yeah, they
But
lost
still,
a two
nothing
goal lead.
convincing.
Yeah.
They won against Peru.
Exactly. But nothing convinced. I wasn't convinced by anything from El Tata Martino. So yeah, you are 100% right. But then I listened to him why he's not bringing Chicharito, and we get caught up, and he's like telling you, yeah, no player like Marcelo Flores. There was this rumor that they were saying, oh yeah, he's deciding if he's gonna go to the U.S. or to, and he was like, hey, bring it down here. Like he doesn't get to pick, we pick, and I think he's correct on that. Like the national team is bigger than, oh yeah, you're gonna try to let we want, like we're not gonna beg you to come to our team, it's
You
up
know how to
to
stop people from keep asking about Chicharito. You know how to stop that by winning. If you win and your
exactly, yeah,
system works and there's no
it is
issues
true.
with whoever you're calling up, then those chatters about Chicharito, no one is going to care. But the fact that this team is playing without philosophy, that we see the same guys and the same results, that's why people ask for Chicharito. Not because we really, really need him back. It's because there's nothing
Mhm.
else and you're not providing solutions to the issues that are going on right now. That's why people get upset with him. It's not, it's terco, you know?
And at the end of the day, he also mentioned that, yeah, some players turn out that not to develop as well as I thought they were going to. Maybe saying about Linus and everything. But that to me is you have to adjust, you have to adapt, and you have to come up with the solution. We have a lot of players from many other teams which he didn't try out, or he didn't give him a chance to players who were in una buena racha. So, and
Well,
it's I think it's
I think
because
he's just a lazy person. I understand that that the players that go to la selección mexicana, it's not for them to grow in the la selección, or el Tata Martino no los va a formar en la selección mexicana. That's not his job. But it is part of his job to kind of help him out how to be better a little bit, you know. And he's just lazy. He already knows that Herrera, Guardado, Funes Mori, they're already developed, and that's what he's calling them.
okay.
He's too lazy to work on Linus, on
Mhm.
Marcelo Flores, on Santi Jimenez, because at the end of the day, the one that's gonna get cut off is gonna be him if Raúl Jimenez gets better. He's just too
If
lazy
Raul,
to
if
to
Raul
help
can
play.
walk, he's going to take Raul. And I feel I
Exactly.
seem the same way. I feel Santi's going to get the short end of the stick this time, but I wouldn't
And
be surprised if he ends up taking 4 strikers.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that because honestly, I feel like we need, we need as many strikers as we can have in case one doesn't give you results in the first 45 minutes. But
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Would you
Definitely,
guys be
Santiago Jimenez could.
happy if we make it to the fifth game and normal, nothing crazy, not playing amazingly, but just fifth game, that's it. And then we get eliminated by France, who call it whatever you want to name it. Would you be happy with El Tata Martino?
No.
Oh, actually, it wouldn't be France because they would be in the in the first playoff, so it would be the next one after.
No.
But would you be happy? 5 games.
See, otherwise, I'd be happy if we make it to the fifth game. But if you say that we make it to the fifth game playing bad, I myself know that the capacity of this team was so much more than playing bad that I could only imagine where we would have made it if they were actually playing good. So if playing bad, we
Let me
make it to the
remind you
fifth game,
this.
I'm gonna be pissed.
Let me remind you this. 1998, they were terrible. El equipo de Francia con Cuauhtémoc, jovencito, con Luis Hernández, they were terrible. They lost 5-1.
Terrible during the World Cup?
Right before. They were losing. They lost 5-1.
So exactly.
Before the World Cup started.
So I mean, if El Tata Martino plays good in El Mundial, then I'll like him a little more. I won't love him, but I'll like him a little more.
See, the difference, because I asked the other day in social media about this, and they mentioned what's the difference between this and the game, the national team in 1998, and they say the love for the team, for the national team, the way they defended those colors. And yeah, that might be true. I don't see that too much right now going on, but who knows? World Cup is a World Cup, so we'll see what that goes. Moving on a little bit, I heard a rumor that Mexico is going to play with the green jersey for the first 3 games in group stages. Is that a fact? Don Ramon, Fernando, you guys know anything about it?
Yeah,
I've heard about it. I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Well, I think what I've heard is that FIFA is the one that assigns the jerseys. I mean, it's not like you choose your jersey, or it's not like you take 2 jerseys and then you choose there and then. It's FIFA the one that assigns the jerseys prior, and FIFA assigned the green jerseys to the national team for the 3 games.
I should have. The good thing about 2 of them, the one of each.
I mean, I'm sure you will see the white one in the League's Cup, or Nations League, whatever that thing is. Nations League. There you go.
Poland is white and red. Argentina has the purple one and the usual blue and white, and then Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but Argentina is gonna be blue, white, and then Mexico the green one, and then what is it? Saudi Arabia. It's a white one.
Saudi Arabia is white. Yeah, their home jersey is white for Saudi Arabia, so they have.
So it makes sense. Green one all the way.
More incentive to go to the 4th and 5th game, so we continue seeing the other shirt, not the green one.
Oh, believe me, if we make it to the next round and we're winning the 3 games, we're keeping that green one on. We don't even wash it.
You didn't change
you're superstitious, Hugo.
Oh, I'll try everything. I'll try during a World Cup. I'll try everything. Voodoo, you call it. Okay. Witchcraft, you call it.
No te vas a cambiar los calzones todo el mes, ¿verdad? Los calzones de la
suerte.
Well,
I just found out a couple days ago that I am actually going to Qatar, so I will be there. So El Trio Online from Qatar.
Reporting live.
So, yeah. Oh yeah, anytime. You guys give me a call. I'll be there.
Hey,
and
don't be holding hands though. You'll get in trouble.
So far, 6 games. Tickets for 6 games. So we'll see. Still debating on Mexico, Argentina. I want to go to that one badly.
You don't have tickets for that one?
Make it to
that one. Request, right? For that one?
What was that?
That's one of the games that has the most ticket requests. It's like 80,000 for the stadium. Yeah, it's insane.
And also, you mentioned something about Saudi Arabia. Before we take a short break, I want to mention that to you guys. Yes, they're doing that. They cancel their league. They're getting ready for it. But also, Saudi Arabia, it's after the U.S., after Argentina, after Qatar itself. I think I don't know if it's between Mexico or Saudi Arabia, the country with the most tickets. So
Wow.
we're gonna see a lot of Saudi Arabian people, and they're close by. That's why also.
Well,
So they're
yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
literally the country next door, so
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
probably easier for them to go.
So, but we're talking about more than 100,000 tickets bought from Saudi Arabia from people from Saudi Arabia. So that's something that might be playing into consideration. They might be el caballo negro. Who knows? You know?
Yeah. Basically a home team.
Who
No,
exactly?
I don't think so. If Mexico doesn't go through,
Bernie,
it's gonna be Argentina and Poland. I mean, I don't know.
listen,
Maybe.
it's the last game, and it could be. That's it. It could be depending on that game, and if it's not a clear victory from Mexico, you say goodbye playing against Saudi Arabia. So
Yeah.
don't be so
And we'll
confident,
see.
Fernie. Let's take a short break. Guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is El Mexican Soccer Podcast, episode 209. La Verde brings fear to the opponent, says El Ingle Roots. Keep sending comments, guys. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. This is el Mexican Soccer Podcast. Corrieron al super mojado porque llega muy borracho al trabajo. Así que es el Ferni y el buen Ramón aquí con nosotros. El super mojado lo invitaremos de vez en cuando.
Es que no queríamos tener problemas de internet.
Al güey no lo ha pagado de seguro. You guys want to talk about a little bit of Liga MX, or you forgot about it and you became English, Ramon, and you just see Premier League and La Liga Española?
Once America's out, I don't really pay attention. So,
well, exactly. Let me tell you about Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is a great player, man.
No, pues le dan todo el servicio. It's too easy.
Did you see that clip that went viral of Erling Haaland playing Torito? They did like 5 nutmegs in 20 seconds.
Está calentando, no se quiere cansar para el juego.
He's a striker, because if he had to defend, see it.
He's going to be the best player of the world.
Okay.
He's only 21. Give him a few years.
Anyway, so today's the Liga MX final, Pachuca against Toluca. And el buen Toluca que eliminó al América. What happened, mi buen Don Ramon? Let's give him a minute or two to see what happened.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's Nacho Ambriz. He came up with a great strategy. Now, Toluca is making America look worse because they're losing right now. They're losing 2-0. But, I think Toluca just came up with a great game plan. They're saying, hey, we're just going to take advantage of our opportunities here. And then, we're just going to sit back and make sure to frustrate America and not going to let them do their usual thing. Play through the lines and just get them frustrated. And I think Nacho Ambriz, if Tata Martino's out, I think he's the next one in line to be in charge of the selección, because he always has a knack of taking teams that don't have a lot or don't have as many talented players as the opposition and always pushing them forward. And so I think he showed it with Toluca there, beating America, which is arguably the best team in the season. So props to them, but I don't know what's gonna happen now in the finals. But yeah, I think it was Nacho Ambriz and his strategy.
Well, 2-0 losing at home, so it's going to be a tough one for Toluca to recover from that one if they don't do anything in this same game. But would you like him, Fernie, as a Mexican national team coach?
Of course. I mean, I since he was with Leon, I knew he had some sort of talent to be a coach, and maybe it wasn't the right time back then, but he could have been the coach instead of El Tata Martino. But it will be a good replacement for Tata Martino. I think definitely a great setup for the 2026 World Cup. And in regards of America, well, I think a big part of it was Ochoa, like I mentioned before. Two big mistakes. I don't know what happened. He usually doesn't get nervous in important games. And on top of that, like Ramon said, for big chunks of the game, Toluca was just sitting back there. And incomodó al América. No pudo jugar cómodo en los 180 minutos de las semifinales.
Well, one thing that happened that I think it happened to America, it's like everybody was calling it already. Oh, the best team. They already have the 14th, and even the players. I thought they showed up with that mentality, and even the coach, El Tan Ortiz, they came out with like, forget about this. They destroyed Puebla, so that's it. La 14 ya llegó, blah, blah, blah. You have to play until the last minute. So Toluca just made a big decision.
The thing is that, I mean, you're going to call me Americanista del Closet. The thing is that right now, I think that America still has a better team than Toluca, even regardless of what happened in the semifinals. No, I saw more game. 100%. I saw more.
I think so too, and they show it. And it's just many people were criticizing how the Liguilla or Liga MX is played, because those are two completely different tournaments. How you play the regular season, which they destroyed it, and then how do you play La Liguilla? And that's how Champions League. Sometimes not all the time the best team wins the Champions League. Not all the time the best regular season team wins the Liguilla. Well, yeah, to me, those are two completely different teams or tournaments.
Yeah, that I know. I mean, the best team in the past 3 years has been Man City, and they still haven't won the Champions League. So I understand what you're saying.
El buen Ramón está como camaleón con un ojo al partido del Toluca, and with the other one here, but we're here still.
No, I'm looking at the list of the players from America, because I feel like, like how you're saying, Hugo, these types of tournaments, especially the Apertura y Clausura, it doesn't lend itself to really say, hey, this team was the best one for the entire year. America, I feel over the last year, ever since the manager was changed, I think they've been the best team in Mexico. Now, do they have the trophies to prove it? They do not. So what do people say? Well, they're not a good team. They didn't win. Look at all these guys they have. They're not successful. I feel this team is lacking a couple of more pieces. If you get rid of someone like Jürgen Damm, if you get rid of Layun, maybe even a Jonathan Dos Santos, El Cabecita Rodriguez, I don't think he's been that great since he returned to Liga MX. Even a Memo Ochoa, is there an upgrade in that position? He's getting a little bit older. He's coming. Not the same guy. He's a club icon. I completely understand. Agustin Cano here saying, let's go Pachuca 2-0. I'm telling you, they're going crazy.
You're joining to say that, yeah. Saludos al buen Agustin Cano.
Wait, I have a question for
improvement in those little ones. And then El Porto les debe dinero, so I think there's money right there too if they wanna upgrade.
Con lo de Marchesín, siguen con eso, ¿no?
Y Marchesín and the Uribe no le han pagado.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did they just put another one? Oh, look at that. 3-0.
Now they're making America really
bad. Again, you see, Toluca is not throwing themselves back in this game like they did with America. If they would have played this game like how Toluca is playing right now, when they played America would have destroyed them.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion.
Open,
I mean,
playing. Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a strategy, though, and I think Nacho Ambriz did well.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Real Madrid has done it before, and look at them. They won 3 Champions League in a row. And see, at this point, is nobody cares how you do it or how many players. How did you play? See, right now, nobody remembers how Toluca was sitting back the whole time, and if they did, who cares?
Well, I
They
mean,
still went through.
I'm pretty sure Americanistas do. I mean,
I
yeah, it's
remember
okay.
Real Madrid beating Man City last year, and
oh my
so I don't know if you remember that one, Fernando. So.
that was just luck.
Should they
5
bring
minutes
the
of just
long
luck.
tournament back?
No,
Would you guys like it, the long tournament?
no, for one reason, because ya valió para los Pumas. I mean, I'll say it how it is. If they do that,
That's true.
we'll never see Pumas champions again.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I think it'd be fun, but I don't think any of the owners would
You think
approve
it
of
would
it
be more
because
fun than the Liguilla?
because okay, if you watch
And
the
2
Premier League,
Liguillas a year.
I think the fun part of having a long season would be the relegation. If there's relegation and those games matter, because if you're a Man City, if you're a Liverpool, if you're a Chelsea, you're at the top of the league. But what about those teams at the bottom? Like, we're talking about the Premier League, the Leeds, the Nottingham Forest, all those teams that are not going to make the Europa League. They're not going to make the Champions League. So what do they have to play for? So
But
I don't think any of the Mexican owners are going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and bring the tournament back, because I think the fun of it is the relegation and the games that actually matter. But if you're going to have a long season and not have it matter, then it doesn't really, it's not fun at that point.
let me tell you though, the commitment of the fans in the Premier League is amazing. You see Nottingham Forest selling out stadiums, or maybe not selling out stadiums, but they're packed,
and they
travel to others. They travel to other cities to see their last place team lose. El Querétaro, bueno, not Querétaro because of what happened, but Tijuana, estadios vacíos. Las Chivas, tú mismo me podrás decir, Hugo, estadios no llenos, ni siquiera la mitad.
Free entrance.
Okay. So if we bring that long tournament back,
it's okay. No, and Chivas probably would be the first one to oppose that. But if you, you can say whatever you want about Chivas, but if you take a look at attendance, they're not in the bottom part. They're actually in the higher part.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that right now you have a tournament where 3 jornadas before the tournament ends, you still have a chance to go to the playoffs, and there's still low attendance. What makes you think that if you have a long tournament?
No, of course, absolutely.
You have so it's not worth it. In the Mexican League, Fernando, I don't think it'll.
Europe is a little bit different because, if like a team like Wolves, a few 5 years ago, they weren't even playing in the Premier League, but now they're kind of in the middle of it. And the incentive of that is that you get to play in the Europa League or the whatever other league they have now that they're making up. But that's the incentive of being in part of the top flight of English football. In Mexico, if you're going to what, like Conca Champions, like another made-up tournament there, the Leagues Cup, you know what I'm saying? Before, it used to be like you could go to Libertadores, you could go to Sudamericana. Like these were incentives for teams to continue to play well throughout the entire year, because if you did play well, then you book yourself a ticket to continue to go to that competition and more money that way. You get these millions of dollars where you pump back to your team, and that's how the team grows.
So you're saying it yourself. There's no incentives to bring back the long tournament.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to work.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we were saying the same thing, because I don't think it'll work.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. And we're just saying what if. But another thing is that I see from the Premier League is that any given Sunday, a Nottingham Forest, I don't know, you call it bottom of the table team, can pull out a 1-0 to Liverpool, and it will be an intense, crazy game. And what are the chances that Cholos is going to do that to America when America is doing fantastic and Cholos está en la miseria? It's not going to happen ever. So that's another one. And especially with that, 4-0 Pachuca now. 4-0 Pachuca. This is crazy.
Apagan la luz, nos vamos.
I know. Feel bad for Nacho Ambriz and whatever happened. And also, props to Los Tuzos, que por cierto, el Edwin se va a meter a este podcast. He's going to do as much as he wants to just join and call it. But anyway, next game, final game would be Sunday, correct?
Mm-hmm. And
in
then
Pachuca,
just seeing on Twitter right now, Pachuca is going to tie Pumas in the amount of titles.
Let's
What do you
move
think about
on.
that?
Let's move on with the conversation. Next topic.
Next one.
I
Next one.
mean, yeah, no, you're right. The
They
thing
might be
is that Pumas
considered a
has been
big team, and then
struggling.
Pumas. That's it.
No. Toluca has had more titles than Pumas for the longest time,
If
and Pumas.
Toluca won, they would have been one away from Chivas and
From Chivas,
one and
yeah,
two
I
away
know
from
that.
America. They're not called a big team, but they're winning them.
Yeah. Well, they haven't won in a while. That's why, and I don't think this is going to happen this one. So,
So
I'm
wait,
more
I mean,
concerned about Pachuca.
there is something. El América metió cuántos 11 goles contra Puebla, and that was the record of the most goals scored in una llave. And we're about to probably see Pachuca beat that score. I mean, 4 in the just one half. They still have a second half and a game home. They might be able to
I think,
break that record again.
Just
Maybe.
to end
but
this point, I think it looks bad that Toluca made it and they're playing like this and not America, because like now you're thinking, well, what would have that been, if it was America versus Pachuca? Because
Oh, that would have been a great final.
right now. But now Toluca beat them, so now we're stuck with this. So thanks a lot.
That would have been a great final, America Pachuca.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah, you call it. I think Pumas would have made it to the final when we win Fernie. Yeah, it would have been a cool final, right?
Here's one thing I'll say about Pachuca, that I really enjoy them, because they're one of these teams in Mexico that said, "Hey, we're going to build our team with academy players. We're gonna bring extranjeros here and there, but our backbone is gonna be players from our academy, like Luis Chavez, Eric Sanchez. This is exactly what I feel Chivas should be doing. They need to only develop kids from their academy and rely on those guys, and that's it. Because I know Pachuca is different than Chivas because they can bring in foreign players, but you don't never hear Pachuca investing like a 20-30 million in a foreign player. They rely on the Mexican players, and they get through, and they have really bad seasons, but then they have seasons like this where they get really good, and I think that's worth it. And as a Mexican fan, you get someone like a Chucky Lozano once in a while that just comes up through the ranks and is just a super good player. And props to them. They're doing great things.
You're right. I think Pachuca is one of the teams that
just
does the things right. Like, he does it right. They do it right.
But I mean, you mentioned, they do not spend the money that much money on extranjero, but I mean, the same amount of money they spend on extranjeros, Chivas probably puts that money in another Mexican player overpriced, because they sell them to Chivas very overpriced. But you're 100% right, and the difference is the process, and Chivas has not done it. It worked with el entrenador argentino. Ya ni me acuerdo cómo se llama.
No Almeida. Te hagas que cada noche lo haces soñar, Hugo.
It worked with them, but it worked only one, and it's been working once every 10 years or close to that. And with Pachuca is being a little bit more often. And also, Ramon, you say, Pachuca, but sometimes a few years ago, Pachuca estaba hasta abajo horrible también. So, but I mean, not too much difference from Chivas. So,
and that's the luxury you can take when cuando no hay descenso, when there's no relegation. You can take that luxury, saying, "Hey, we're not going to be good for a year, 2 years. That's fine. There's no consequence. People are still going to come watch the team." And that's why, if there's no relegation, doesn't really put a fire. That's why Mauri Vergara, he's like, okay, we're just going to bring this guy from Spain who has no idea about Mexican soccer. We're going to see how it works out. Come on, man. Come on. Have some respect.
No, I mean, but Pachuca has players like that. I mean, not players, directivos like that. De hecho, uno de Chivas, Westerhoff, me parece que era, el holandés. He was doing a fantastic job with the youth Chivas. And that's it. Vergara somehow, en paz descanse, agarró y le dio cuello. El que sigue, el Güero Real, agarró a punto de ser campeones en la liga. Cambia director técnico. Things like that Mauri probably, it's not even close to doing anything like that, but who knows? I mean, we'll see what happened with Fernando Hierro. I think he can work if they let him work and they give him a little bit of space and money, but it's something that you don't hear too often in Chivas.
No, we'll see. I mean, I think it's Ricardo Peláez. I don't know what's going on there. This guy, I think there was too much stuff going on behind the scenes, and I don't think he had the structure that he did in America. So I I remember that he gave that interview and he's talking about Brandon Vasquez, the Mexican American player from FC Cincinnati, and he's like, "Well, we went on transfer market and it said it was $500,000, and when we called him, it was $5 million." First of all, if you're working in a directiva, if you're in the structure of that team and you're one of the management people, you can't be going on transfermarket.com to see the value of players. That's not how it works at that point. Those numbers are made up by people and by fans, right? And Brandon Vasquez had an amazing year with FC Cincinnati. What makes you think they're going to want to sell him for that low anyway? So that's an example of, I think, the incompetence that was going on in Chivas at the time. So Hierro, I think, he has a lot of experience. I'm just worried that he just doesn't know the Mexican soccer, culture enough to make an actual change. And like I said, it has to start with the cantera, with the academy, and you have to move those kids up. And it's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be some growing pains, and I don't think a lot of Chiva fans are ready for that.
Well, it's either that or what else? What are the other options? I know that every time I see Chivas
at 35 Chicharito.
Do whatever you want. I mean, bring it on.
Hey,
who cares? I'll be happy.
Super Mojado would be happy with a 35-year-old Chicharito.
Listen, how many goals has Chicharito right now in MLS in this season?
Like at least 20, no? Something like that.
Exactly, something like that. If they do that,
una panenka fallada.
I'll take it. Take it and take out 2 more out. So if he scores half of it for Liguilla, for Liga MX, I'll take him any day. He'll be campeón de goleo. What are you talking about?
Yeah, at least the best Mexican one. Yeah, 18 goals to
exactly,
assist. Yeah.
Would you see it happening? 18 goles, 2 asistencias. Dame 9 goles y 1 asistencia, la mitad. Y todavía sería campeón de goleo.
Yep, exactly.
I think he I don't remember if he was the last campeón de goleo. No, I think it was el otro. ¿Cómo se llama? Que queda campeón Pulido. But with Chivas. But with 9 goals, you probably can become a campeón de goleo in La Liga MX.
Man,
in a bad one.
We've settled a lot. 9 goals, campeón de goleo.
I'm not saying, but it could have. It could have happened.
No. I understand that it can happen, and that's why I'm telling you that's sad.
Would you see Chicharito going to Chivas or no?
Yeah, of course. Who else do they have?
I mean, look, I think he renewed for another year with LA Galaxy, but there's rumors that Luis Suarez is looking to get out of Nacional in Uruguay because he's trying to, and he's trying to go to Galaxy, but Galaxy needs to get rid of either Douglas Costa or Kevin Cabral to make room for a designated player, which would go to Luis Suarez. So I think Chicharito's staying for at least another year, but after that, give him a call. I think he'll be open to it.
Would you see Vela joining Chivas as well?
Yo lo acepto en Pumas a Chicharito si no lo quieren las Chivas.
Al América, el Checo le dijo que se vaya al América.
Bueno, a Ochoa me lo quieren aventar al Chivas ya también.
Oh, yeah. Just for context, guys, Henry Martin, 21 games this season, 13 goals. So 6 assists. So, and he was the second leading scorer.
So yeah, and if you think about it, and as we mentioned before, real quick, it's okay for Tata to take him. If you see those numbers, hell yeah, take him.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you have to play around Henry Martin de que te funcione y que te meta algo así como lo hace en América. So I don't think it's happening anyway. Hopefully he scored 1 or 2. If he scored 1, that's it. It paid off for Tata Martino, but I don't think he's going to score too much.
But even though Henry Martin has better numbers, he's still going to play Funes Mori. So it doesn't matter if he takes him or not.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, we'll see what next week. I think after next week, we're going to take a little break because then it's going to be World Cup all over the world. World Cup from Qatar. So we're going to talk about who win the final on Sunday. Although I'm starting to put money right now on Pachuca.
Yeah.
Before the momios se van por los cielos. They're going to pay nothing. They're going to pay cents for every dollar. if. But anyway, so last comments before we go because time goes fast when you're having fun.
Pues se pone bueno el fin de semana. 2 finales el domingo. It's going to be a great Sunday.
¿Cuáles 2 finales me diste a guardar?
El Toluca Pachuca y el LAFC contra qué es Austin.
Oh, semifinal. Yeah. That's what I was
Well,
going to say too.
final de
Es
conferencia.
la final de la
Final de
conferencia.
conferencia.
Mira, aquí la
Yeah,
traigo.
no.
Aquí la traigo.
Nice. I hate
And
the fact that that game is being played at noon. That's ridiculous. It should be played later on, but it is what it is. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show, guys. Great talking some football, which I hope to be back soon.
you're welcome here anytime. And if that means replacing El Super Mojado, please do it more often. One other thing, and it's just out of context, Fernando, what happened to your baseball fanatic stage that you were going through? Still going on, or that's it?
Well, the Angels are just not there. I'm
They were
keeping up.
never there. Okay,
That's
good,
why. I
good
mean,
stuff.
I enjoyed watching them.
Tomorrow's
You know,
the World Series. They started the World Series,
yes.
so good thing.
And I
Anyways,
actually watched it up to when the Dodgers got eliminated, and after that I was me di por bien servido. Ya
all
ahorita el
right,
que gane.
sounds good. Well, this is the most important week then. Follow the next 7 games, see if they get to 7. Thank you, mi buen Ramon, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. And we'll see you here next week with the champion, with conference champions, maybe with a final 2 for the MLS. Thank you guys for joining us. Remember, we'll see you here next week. Este es el Mexican Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Hugo Bernal. Ferni, Ramón, gracias. Nos vemos en la próxima. Coman frutas y verduras. Ahí nos vemos, banda.